see how this conversation will go with Sporting. On Victor Gyokeres and Manchester United, also guys, remember that the priority of Victor Gyokeres would be to go to Arsenal because of Champions League football, but he never rejected Manchester United. But what's the point for United? The price is really important for them, because now, as of today, their focus is on closing the Bayern Mbeumo deal as soon as possible. Man United are in the process for that, and then in terms of budget, it's going to be important to understand how much they can spend on the striker, because it's also going to be important to understand what happens with Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho. All these players have to go, and so for Man United to understand how much they will get from these players, Anthony too is going to be crucial to understand the budget for the striker.
Because Rashford could end up after his little stay at Aston Villa on loan last season, but of course that ship has sailed. Could he be heading to the Allianz Arena to join up with Harry Kane at Bayern Munich? What do you make of it, Charlie?
Well, you know, I think Rashford, you know, his heart has been set on a move to Barcelona. But I think if he ended up at Bayern Munich, he wouldn't be complaining. I mean, Harry Kane had one Englishman with him last season when he won the title, Eric Dyer. He's moved on to Monaco now. So maybe Rashford, you know, Bayern's sporting director, they've compiled a list. I don't think Rashford's at the top, if we're being honest, but he's definitely looking at him. He is an option. Luis Diaz is on that list as well. But, you know, if you're Bayern and you're in the market for a wide man, which they clearly are, as Leroy Sané's left the club, Rashford may be, but, you know, United want £40 million for him, which is a lot of money. Maybe it could be another loan deal. I don't think United want that. But, yeah, Marcus Rashford pulling on the Bayern shirt, in the same team as Harry Kane would be, a fascinating prospect.
It certainly would be. And, of course, another little ironic touch to this story, Martin, I'm sure it hasn't escaped your attention, is that if he were to join Bayern Munich, it would be a former Manchester United playing for a former Manchester City captain in Vincent Kompany, who's, of course, head coach there now. How do you think Rashford might fit in, should this come to pass, with Kompany's coaching style?
I think wherever Marcus Rashford lands, and the hope has to be that he leaves Old Trafford this summer, if they get him as fired up as he was at Aston Villa and, you know, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago at Manchester United, then you're landing a really top-class player. The challenge of the Bundesliga, I'm sure, would be something that would appeal to him if, as is starting with the case, that Barcelona might be an unlikely exit for him. The clock may tick down on this one, because if Manchester United can't receive the £40 million that they want, then you might be looking at a situation there where Charlie's mentioned there that they have to get him off their books, and therefore the loan deal, if a buying club or the loan club like Bayern Munich are keen to pay that salary, then that's a lot of money at £350,000 a week that disappears from Manchester United's wage bill. So I think that would appeal. In playing terms, like I've been on before and I've said, I've always liked the idea of somebody taking a long punt on Marcus Rashford as a centre forward. That won't happen if he's going to a club where Harry Kane is. But playing wide, he still remains a very exciting player. The Allianz Arena might just be the stage to get the best out of him. There are still good years left in Marcus Rashford, and if he was to move to Germany, that would be an intriguing transfer and something for Thomas Tuchel to watch, and hopefully see the best of that player emerge from.
It's 4 very key players who could be on their way out. Give us the lowdown on these, please.
£150 million worth of talent right there in front of us. Now, we know that Jadon Sancho, on loan at Chelsea last year, into the final year of his contract, huge investment for Manchester United, upwards of £70 million. It's expected he'll depart Old Trafford at some stage this summer, but what will they get for him? And, of course, the big stumbling block is he's on huge wages. Anthony, Real Betis on loan. And he got to the Europa Conference League final, still has a couple of years left on his Manchester United contract. Another big investment from Manchester United of 80 million. What will they claw back from him? Maybe 30, maybe 40 at a push, but we know that sides in La Liga don't have the type of funds that they do in Saudi Arabia or the Premier League. Marcus Rashford, another big hitter, 3 years left on his Old Trafford deal. He's spoken publicly about his desire to go and play in the Champions League, which limits his options in England. We know that there are interested sides in Europe. He'd desperately love to go and play for Barcelona, but whether or not that will happen, it feels unlikely at this stage. Manchester United would have to pay a big chunk of his wages. And, of course, he would have to find the right club that could satisfy his desires and needs. And Alejandro Garnacho, all of the noise really coming from him and his camp. Manchester United undecided about what they're doing with him. He's made noises he'd like to leave. Of course, a lot of value there in that player. But when you look at these four, huge potential income there for Manchester United. And obviously that could be used to refund this bill. In signing a new number 9 at Old Trafford, one of the players on their radar, we know there has been links with Victor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko. Another player of interest, the 29-year-old at Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins. Manchester United are exploring a potential deal for someone who has 3 years left on their Villa contract. This will have no effect on Rasmus Højlund and what they decide to do with him or his future. But as of yet, it's important to point out there has been no club-to-club contact between Villa and Manchester United. And of course, this will be funded by a number of players leaving Old Trafford this summer as well. But this is certainly one to keep an eye on as Manchester United look to strengthen right through the middle.
And Victor Osimhen has been linked with a move to Old Trafford this summer. How likely is that one looking?
Well, Manchester United have been interested in number 9. We know that Victor Osimhen has been on the radar of a number of Premier League sides over the course of the last couple of years, really. He's been one of those players scoring goals in Europe. Things haven't worked out at Napoli. Spent last season on loan at Galatasaray, where he scored 26 goals in 30 league games. He got 6 goals in 7 appearances in the Europa League as well. There has been a persistent link with Saudi Arabia. One other thing coming from our Sky colleagues in Italy is that Juventus are considering making an offer to Napoli for the 26-year-old. That's if they get confirmation from his representatives that he would be willing to go to Juventus. If he gets a green light, then they will approach Napoli for club-to-club talks about potentially doing a deal. Be interesting to see if that sparks any interest from Premier League sides, because we know there are a number of teams, Arsenal in the market for number 9, Chelsea possibly in the market for number 9, depending on what happens with Nicholas Jackson. We know that Manchester United are in the market for number 9, Liverpool possibly, Newcastle possibly. Now, the thing about Victor Osimhen, big player, big personality, big wages. And that may be a stumbling block for some Premier League sides. But it's always worth keeping an eye on his situation.
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford's time at Manchester United may be nearing its end, with Bayern Munich emerging as a possible destination for the 27-year-old forward this summer. After a mixed loan spell at Aston Villa, where he registered 4 goals and 6 assists in 17 appearances, Rashford is set to return to Carrington for pre-season training amid growing uncertainty over his role at Old Trafford. Despite showing glimpses of his attacking quality under Unai Emery, Aston Villa have reportedly opted against activating the £40 million purchase option included in the loan agreement, with United open to parting ways with Rashford, either on a permanent deal or via a loan or swap deal. A number of European clubs are keeping tabs on the situation. Bayern Munich are believed to be exploring attacking reinforcements following the departure of Leroy Sané. Although Rashford is not thought to be the German champion's top target, he is viewed as a cost-effective option compared to other left-sided attackers on their shortlist. Names like Nico Williams, Luis Diaz, Bradley Barcola, and Rafael Leo are currently ahead of Rashford in terms of priority, but all carry significantly higher price tags. Barcelona have also been linked with a move, with suggestions that the Spanish champions may consider a loan deal if financial conditions permit. However, budget constraints at Camp Nou could complicate their chances of completing any high-profile transfers this summer. Rashford, who has 3 years remaining on his current Manchester United deal, is believed to be seeking a move abroad to reignite his career and compete at the highest level. With his place in the England setup also uncertain, a change of scenery could offer the fresh start he needs.